Fast twitch, dominant, the human lightning bolt. Have you ever noticed that the person who catches a falling glass before it hits the floor is also the person who makes life-changing decisions in a split second? This isn't just luck. It's a biological blueprint called the human lightning bolt. Today, we're identifying which of the 5 blueprints you carry and why your muscle fibers are the secret reason you're impulsive, patient, or unusually calm under pressure. I'll even give you the staircase test in a few minutes to prove your type instantly. But first, let's see if you're a different machine entirely. Profile 1, the human lightning bolt. Think back to gym class. If the coach says, go, do you explode off the line, leaving everyone behind for the first 10 yards, only to feel your legs turn to lead 30 seconds later? Or if someone tosses you a set of keys from across the room when you aren't looking, do you find your hand closing around them before your brain has even consciously processed they were in the air? That twitch isn't luck. It's type 2X fibers firing. Fast twitch dominant athletes are built around type 2 muscle fibers, specifically type 2X, the most explosive tissue in the human body. These fibers produce force at an extraordinary rate by tapping directly into stored ATP and anaerobic energy. The trade-off? They burn out fast. But in a world where a fraction of a second is the difference between winning and losing, that doesn't matter. A study in ACTA Physiologica found that world-class sprinters have type 2X concentrations more than double that of the average person. This is often thanks to the ACTN3, or the speed gene. Unlike slow twitch fibers, these can contract up to 5 times faster and generate 4 times the peak force. You aren't just a faster runner. You are a different machine entirely. Your edges are explosive acceleration, high peak power, and raw strength that comes more naturally than it should. Sprinting, Olympic lifting, and American football weren't just sports you chose. They were sports designed by people with your biology, for people with your biology. Look at Usain Bolt. At 6 feet 5 inches, he has longer limbs than any coach would recommend for a sprinter. But research shows his muscle fiber composition allowed him to produce ground force that outpaced even biomechanically ideal athletes. He wasn't just faster. He was built differently at a cellular level. Psychologically, lightning bolts are instinct-driven. Because your sports demand split-second processing, you don't deliberate, you react. Over time, this builds a habit of trusting the body. That explosiveness isn't just physical. It bleeds into how you move through the world. You're the person who makes a decision and commits instantly. But if you're the person who feels like they're powering down after 20 seconds, you might think you're out of shape. In reality, you might just be ignoring the infinite engine blueprint, the only profile that actually thrives when everyone else is hitting a wall. Slow twitch dominant, the infinite engine. When you're doing something repetitive, like climbing a long flight of stairs or a high rep set in the gym, do your muscles start screaming and pumping with blood almost immediately? Or do you just feel a slow, dull heat that you could sustain for 10 minutes, if you had to? If you're the person who just doesn't get tired while everyone else is gasping, you likely carry the infinite engine. Slow twitch dominant athletes carry a high proportion of type 1 muscle fibers. These fibers are small, dense, and packed with mitochondria, the energy factories of your cells. They run almost entirely on your aerobic system, meaning they use oxygen to generate fuel. They can keep firing for hours without breaking down. Research published in the Journal of Applied Physiology shows that elite endurance athletes can have type 1 fiber ratios as high as 80 to 90% in key muscle groups. That's not just grit. That's inherited code. Your physical edge is simple. You recover faster during effort, your heart works more efficiently, and fatigue is a suggestion, not a wall. Long-distance running, cycling, or open water swimming aren't just hobbies for you. They are your biological arenas. Look at Nairo Quintana. The Colombian cycling legend is a pure climber. He didn't just work harder on mountain stages. His small, lightweight frame and massive proportion of fatigue-resistant fibers made him virtually unstoppable when others cracked. He didn't climb those mountains. His biology carried him up them. Here's something interesting. Infinite engines don't just have different muscles. They have a different mind. Because your sports are long and grinding, you've likely developed an extraordinary level of comfort in discomfort. You don't panic when the finish line is far away. That mental resilience, that ability to stay patient while others are rushing, is a direct gift from your muscle fibers. Now, before we move to the most violent profile on this list, we need to find out where you actually sit on the spectrum. Let's do the staircase test. You don't need a lab or a DNA kit. You just need a flight of stairs. Think back to the last time you had to climb 3 or 4 flights of stairs quickly. How did your body respond in those first 30 seconds? If your legs felt wooden or heavy almost immediately, like they were literally filling with lead, but you weren't actually out of breath yet. That's the sign of a lightning bolt. Your type 2 X fibers fired so hard they exhausted their instant fuel, ATP, before your lungs could even join the conversation. If you reached the top and felt almost nothing, no burn, just a slightly elevated heart rate, you likely carry the infinite engine. Your aerobic system is so dominant that a few flights of stairs aren't even worth its time. But if you felt a sudden, intense acidic burn in your quads, that sharp, stinging heat that made you want to grit your teeth and keep going, then you don't fit either of those. You possess a much rarer advantage. You are the repeat attacker, and your biology is built for the death zone. Glycolytic dominant, the repeat attacker. This is the profile nobody talks about. It's the most underrated advantage in sports, and if you have it, you possess a level of functional grit that most people physically cannot match. You are the repeat attacker. You don't rely on a single explosion or a 3-hour slog. You live in the brutal middle. Repeated high-intensity efforts with almost no recovery time. Imagine a 60-second window of max effort, like a 400-meter sprint or a heavy set of high-rep burpees. Does your body hit a wall of burning pain at the 40-second mark that makes you want to quit? Or do you find a second gear where you can actually push harder through the burn? If you can sustain a near sprint for over a minute while your muscles are literally screaming, you are likely glycolytic dominant. Your dominant system is anaerobic glycolysis. While others rely on oxygen or instant ATP, your muscles are genetically better at converting sugar into explosive energy, and doing it over and over. Research in exercise and sports sciences reviews shows that these athletes have significantly higher concentrations of enzymes like PFK, phosphofructokinase. In plain terms, your biological furnace burns hotter and longer than a sprinter's, but faster than a marathoner's. At peak output, your system produces energy at nearly twice the rate of the aerobic system. It's a turbo boost that lasts for 20 to 90 seconds of pure intensity. The sport's built for you? The 400-meter and 800-meter run, arguably the most brutal distances in track, as well as hockey, wrestling, and rowing. You thrive where effort is maximal and relentless. You don't need a full recovery, you just need a few seconds to breathe before you go again. Look at David Rudisha, the 800-meter world record holder. He ran the most perfectly executed glycolytic race in history at the 2012 Olympics. He sustained a near sprint pace for 2 full laps. He didn't have the easy stride of a 5K runner or the snap of a 100-meter sprinter. It was pure anaerobic mastery. The commentators called it poetry. The physiology called it a mastery of pain. This creates a very specific mental toughness, the warrior mindset, because your biology forces you to perform while lactic acid is literally creating physiological pain. You develop an unusually high tolerance for suffering. You don't avoid the burn. You seek it out. If you're the person who gets more focused when things get difficult, that's your glycolytic wiring at work. But there's a profile that refuses to pick a side. They aren't pure sprinters or pure grinders. They are the most dangerous athletes on the field because they can do both. Mixed fiber, the ultimate hybrid. Most people assume you have to pick a lane. You're either a speed demon or a marathoner. Power or stamina. The ultimate hybrid blows that idea apart. If you've ever felt like you're pretty good at everything but don't strictly dominate one category, you likely have the most adaptable blueprint in nature. Think back to a game of soccer. When the play stops after a 20-second sprint, do you feel like your heart rate returns to normal almost immediately, and you are ready for the next burst? While your friends are still gasping for air, are you the one already asking for the next set? If your recharge time is abnormally fast, this is you. The ultimate hybrid, a balanced distribution of type 1 and type 2 fibers, means your aerobic and anaerobic systems are equally developed. You can sprint, then recover, then sprint again, indefinitely. A 2021 study in the International Journal of Sports Physiology and Performance confirmed this. Researchers found that professional soccer midfielders have significantly more balanced fiber distributions than pure sprinters. Why? Because soccer demands 90 minutes of endurance, punctuated by 50 to 100 explosive sprints. Your body is a dual-engine machine. Your edge is adaptability. You are the athlete who can shift modes mid-game. Basketball, rugby, MMA, and CrossFit, these aren't just sports. They are tests of how fluidly you can switch from power to endurance. You don't just participate, you outlast the specialists by being good enough at everything. The ultimate proof is LeBron James. His physique is a scientific anomaly, a near-perfect blend of raw power and elite conditioning. He can outsprint elite guards in a fast break and outmuscle centers in the paint, all while playing 40-plus minutes. That's not just extra gym time, That's a mixed fiber blueprint operating at the highest level. Because you can't rely on just one physical trick to win, hybrids develop an elite reading of the game. You win through situational awareness and intelligence. Over time, this sharpens into a competitive edge that's impossible to coach. The ability to find the advantage no one else sees because you're looking at the whole map, not just one corner. We've talked about the engine and the fuel, but there is one final advantage that makes muscle size completely irrelevant. It's the reason a 130-pound gymnast can produce more power than a 200-pound bodybuilder. It's not about the meat, it's about the electricity. Neuromuscular efficiency, the wired athlete. This is the profile that makes coaches scratch their heads. It doesn't follow the standard rules of bigger is better or stronger is faster. You are the wired athlete. You might not have the biggest muscles or the highest VO2 max, but you move in a way that looks almost effortless. You pick up new skills faster than anyone else, performing at an elite level without ever looking the part by conventional measures. If you watch a complex movement, like a golf swing, a dance move, or a specific lifting technique, can you replicate it almost perfectly after seeing it just once? Or if you're suddenly off balance, do you find your body correcting itself before your brain even realizes you were falling? That's not just coordination, that's elite neural communication. What you have is neuromuscular efficiency. It's not about the size of the engine, it's about the quality of the wiring. Research in the Journal of Neurophysiology shows that skilled athletes have higher motor unit synchronization and more precise neural firing patterns. In short, your brain talks to your muscles in a language that eliminates waste. Studies suggest elite athletes can recruit up to 95% of their available motor units during a move, compared to just 60% in the average person. That gap isn't fitness, it's wiring. This defines the technicians: gymnasts, rock climbers, martial artists, and golfers. Your edge is precision. You don't need raw mass because you use every single fiber you own with 100% efficiency. The ultimate proof is Simone Biles. She is a scientific anomaly. Her ability to orient her body in mid-air and apply force at the exact millisecond required isn't just gymnastics greatness, it's a different grade of biological wiring. Researchers study her because her brain-to-muscle connection operates at a speed that shouldn't be possible. Wired athletes possess the calm center. Because your sports demand absolute focus, one lapse in technique is a fall or a miss, you've developed an exceptional relationship with presence. You are the one who looks calm when everything is on the line. That's not just your personality, it's what your neural wiring built in you. So there you have it, 5 biological profiles, 5 hidden advantages, all rooted in science. The point of this isn't to put yourself in a box. It's to stop fighting your biology and start working with it. The athlete who trains with their fiber type instead of against it doesn't just improve faster, they build a body that actually lasts. So, which profile are you? Do you have the warrior mindset of the attacker or the presence of the wired athlete? Drop your profile in the comments and see you in the next video.